Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy, my channel's Finding Value. And sometimes, I'm reading through articles, I'm just trying to gain some information, maybe looking at things from a little bit different perspective than just charting. And I was going through a couple of articles here, and one of them was the renewable energy waste crisis is much worse than what you think. And one thing I wasn't really thinking about in terms of technology is how rapid technology develops. And that's going to apply to more than, just computers and whatnot. It also applies to solar panels. And if you look at solar panels, you've got the technology that's, done 10 years ago. And even though these things may have a lifespan of 20 years or something like that, some people or companies or whatnot would replace the solar panels quicker because the new solar panels are just that much better, and they may not actually use them for the life of the solar panel. And what this is talking about, this article, is it's saying waste disposal is not a popular topic of discussion in the media when it comes to renewable energy. So we're trying to basically trade off our emissions pollution for environmental disasters, an environmental problem. So it says here that most of the coverage that solar and wind power is getting is strongly positive, with a focus on falling costs and rising efficiencies, as well as government plans for huge increases in installed capacity. Yet problems tend to lurk and wait to spring up. Now the waste problem is springing up from solar panels and wind. It says the thing is, most panels do not live to see their 30th birthday. This is from Harvard Business Review. Solar waste, it said, is growing much faster than it should have. Theoretically, this is because another thing that you wouldn't see widely publicized is solar panels begin to lose efficiency from the moment they are installed. So they lose efficiency. I'm just going to kind of skip over some of this stuff. The massive difference in the cost of recycling versus the cost of dumping panels at landfills hints at an unpleasant truth that we are seeing in the EU already. There are recycling mandates there. The countries with the highest solar capacity pay the most for their electricity. This could, of course, be coincidence, but that's quite unlikely. Recycling costs money, and somebody has to foot that bill, and it's tied in with the solar usage. If we plot installations according to a logistics growth curve capped at 700 gigawatts by 2050, alongside the early replacement curve, we see the volume of waste surpassing that of new installations by the year 2031. By 2035, discarded panels would outweigh new units sold by 2.56 times. In turn, this would catapult the levelized cost of energy, a measure of the overall cost of an energy-producing asset over its lifetime, to 4 times the current projection. The economics of solar, so bright seeming from the vantage point of 2021, would darken quickly as the industry sinks under the weight of its own trash. This sounds bad enough. It's even worse because there are only a handful of companies in the US that recycle solar panels. But there's also wind turbine blade waste that is building up. And while, unlike solar panels, it does not contain toxic materials, the sheer size of the blades make it a significant waste problem. Wind turbine blades are not recyclable yet. The tons of them that are coming to landfills over the next 20 years, more than 720,000 tons in the US alone. Because there are so few options for recycling wind turbine blades, currently the vast majority of those that are no longer able to be used are either stored in various places or taken in a landfill, taken to a landfill. So these things produce incredible amounts of waste. And if we continue to ramp these up at exponential paces, we're going to ramp up eventually our exponential waste of them. So although we may think that being an emissions-free world is going to be great with solar and wind, we also have to look at the environment and the damage that these basically renewable energies can do to the environment in terms of waste. So that's one thing I wanted to cover. The second thing, could a helium shortage derail the tech boom? Because right now we're looking at risks. We're looking at what could derail some of these things from being implemented. So waste is one of them. I wanted to talk about helium. Discovered over a century ago, helium was never intended for balloons. It's supposed to be a party gas, so on and so forth. So looking on down, our tech future may depend on helium. So we look at everything from big data, fiber optics, and MRIs to astrophysics, space travel, and cryogenics relies on helium. There's no winning the race against China for global tech dominance without helium. You probably wouldn't be able to get an MRI. Going on down, no one would be able to stream TV and movies or even use a cell phone. Helium is usually found in natural gas reservoirs and mined as a byproduct of natural gas. The noble gas is so valuable because it's non-combustible, very unreactive, highly stable, and so light that the Earth's gravity cannot hold it. Helium is non-toxic and boils at minus 268 degrees Celsius. That's what makes helium a noble gas that cannot be replaced. And investors will like the fact that it's already 100 times more expensive than natural gas, which sells for around $3 per million cubic feet for natural gas. Helium can sell for as much as 400 million cubic feet and isn't traded like a commodity yet. So now we'll get ready for what looks like to be a supply squeeze of the century. One that could last decades. There's no better time for a junior explorer to be launching exploration in prospective helium territory. And here they talk about Avante Energy. I guess this is one of their picks. ARGYF is the ticker symbol if you want to look into it. And they talk about Avante Energy. But either way, helium is coming up on a gigantic squeeze. It is the tech sector is very dependent on helium, and it provides obviously immense value for that sector. So that's another one to take a look into. Maybe I'll dive into it a little bit deeper than this, but I just wanted to touch at a high level that helium could be in a pretty big shortage here coming up. And I think there's another one, Desert Mountain's another favorite amongst a lot of people for helium. That's another company to look into. If you guys like this content, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for listening. This is Finding Value.